Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Ingram Jones, and thank you for choosing to watch this very special interview with Brian K. Moore, the former manager or co-manager of Destiny's Child. Kenny, how are you?
I'm fine, Ingram. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much again for talking to Bayloric Worldwide TV.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
So for those people who don't know who Kenny Moore is, or Brian K. Moore is, as you're known, let us know a little bit more about you.
Well, I'm Brian Kenneth Moore. I'm the author of the book you see behind me, The Making of a Child of Destiny, the Andretta Tillman story. I was the former co-manager of Destiny Child, along with Andretta and Matthew Knows.
Okay, so what inspired you to write the book?
Well, the story, Andretta's sacrifices and the things that we did to get Destiny Child to where they are, had was starting to be forgotten. So it was just on my heart to tell her story and just let the world know what really happened with the creation of Beyoncé and Destiny Child.
As you mentioned the name Beyoncé, it's her birthday today, so happy birthday to Beyoncé.
Happy birthday, B.
Okay, when we talk about Beyoncé, we talk about Destiny's Child. She's probably the most well-known member of Destiny's Child throughout the world, alongside Michelle and Kelly.
Right.
Now, we have to track back a bit, but tell us, what was it like working with Destiny's Child?
It was a pleasure. It was an honor, really. Watching the girls, have their dream and wanting to be musicians, and then just watching the hard work they put in to get there. And it was just a pleasure. They were just great and very fine young ladies.
So now when you look at Beyonce's career since, away from Destiny's Child and being a solo artist, what is your thoughts on that as her being a solo artist now?
Well, to be honest, after we got rolling, it was always known that B was going to be a solo artist. She was, after Ashley Davis left the group, she became the lead singer and the focus. So it was eventually going to happen. So I'm not surprised. And the success she's having either.
I mean, we spoke before when we talked about Beyonce and her rise to fame. She wasn't actually going to be the lead singer in the beginning, as you mentioned before, which a lot of people still find quite astonishing.
Well, she was not the lead singer. It was a young lady named Ashley Tamar Davis. She was the lead singer originally. And she would get some lead parts. And it was at a recording that we were having out at the plant in Sausalito. And that Ashley was actually singing, and then Beyonce was sitting beside me and just fidgeting. And I was like, B, what's the problem? And so I was like, can you sing that part? And Beyonce, in her little quiet voice, yes, sir. And I was like, now, if I stop this session, it's going to be some mess. And she was like, I can do it, Miss Kenny. And so I stopped the session, told Andretta, and Andretta was like, then I tell you, don't stop my session. And I was like, hey, why don't you give B a shot? And B went in, and first take, she ripped it up. And from there, Lonnie and the producers, they were like, okay, hey, B, go do this and go do this. Next thing you know, we came back. We left with Ashley being the lead singer and went back with all the focus being on Beyonce. So that's how she actually became the lead singer of the group at the time, Girls Time.
So for how long were you working from, the time you were talking about Girls Time actually becoming Destiny's Child? How long actually were you and Andretta working with Destiny's Child?
Well, Andretta, it all started in like 89.
Right.
And when Andretta came on board, and I came on a few months after she did.
Right.
And we were there until 1997. After the first album was done, we were shooting the first video of No, No, No. In fact, Andretta and I, one of the last things we did where, we were together, we were actually listening to the masters of the first album. And we were just, had a big celebration that, hey, we finally, all the hard work had paid off and we finally got a major record deal and things were starting to roll.
So what would you say would be your highlight being with Destiny's Child and being a co-manager?
For me, the highlight was the whole journey. I mean, it was just an incredible journey. I mean, so many sacrifices, so many people, good people, giving their all, to see these little girls, become stars. And I mean, there was so many sacrifices, a lot of loss that happened, but the whole journey was just incredible. And just watching them now, um, you're just like a proud papa. I mean, every time Beyonce received an award, you feel that that gratitude as well. That hey, that's part of me. So
There's been a lot of hard work between yourself and Andretta Tillman to make Destiny's Child who the world knows them to be today. Matthew Knowles often gets linked to Destiny's Child as the manager of Destiny's Child and being the man that made Destiny's Child what they are today. And I know that we've spoken before about this and you've said, look, this isn't completely accurate. Can you again reaffirm that?
well, I mean, it's not accurate at all. I mean, because like I say, you're talking monies, you're talking the rehearsals, the routine. When you hear of the boot camp, Andretta and Alonzo Jackson, when put the girls through that. That's where that came from. You often hear of other things that Matthew came in after Star Search. Well, Andretta was in control and she ran things until her death. So it was not necessarily true. Was Matthew there? Yes, but Andretta, for the most part, did all the legwork to make those things happen.
So why does Andretta Tillman not get the credit she deserves and being the person that really was the driving force?
Well, I think initially the intention was there with good intention. Their first two albums, they dedicated a song to her, and even their first award, they went and said her name, and and it was dedicated to her. And I think as time went on, people have a tendency, once fame comes in, you start to omit, and once you start to omit, you start to believe, what you're actually saying. So I'm hoping that it was a case of, it's been so long that I kind of forgot what really happened, instead of them going out their way and omitting them from history.
Often when people write books, and it can be accused of anybody who writes a book after an event, they can say, oh, well, he's a bitter man. He's not in the limelight no more. Of course he'd write a book. Of course he'd get it. His side of the story. Of course. Well, you know what I'm getting at here, Kenny, don't you?
Yeah. Hey, I understand. And my whole thing is 17 years later, if it was about money, then I would have been written the book. It's never been about that. It was just that a lot of people was asking me, why don't you say something about Andretta? Why don't you let the world know, what she did? And so ultimately, I decided to write the book, but it wasn't for any vendetta or need of money or anything like. I've had a fabulous life, and I thank God for it, and so I can't complain. But it was just hey, here's what happened. You read all the fairy tale stories about and Beyonce and Destiny Child and how they got where they are. All I was doing was saying, okay, hey, here's the truth. Here's what really happened behind the scenes. If you want to know, great. If you don't, it's the same. So,
what's been the feedback you've had from the book?
initial feedback. I mean, now people that have read the book, I love it. So, and I thank the ones that have responded and given me great inspiration, from that. And then there are those that the Beehive and those that would just jump out and say, okay, hey, this is something bad about Beyonce. They're trying to do something to Beyonce and things of that nature. And that's not the case. But the initial response have been good. Then, when you're fighting a machine, the biggest problem is, the media. It's hard getting the people in the media to say, hey, I'll put the story on. I'll say something about this because of the power that B and her camp have as far as, shutting you down. So as far as the response from the public has been great, and just going against the machine, it's, been slow going. But hey, you got the right man for the job because quitting ain't in me. so, 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 hey, if I was gonna quit, I would have quit when they said, "Oh, the girls would never amount to nothing." We would have quit way back then. So, quit ain't in me. So we'll make some things happen, and some good things are going on. I mean, we're talking. Some producers approached me about converting the book to a movie, a biopic. So we're looking at doing a biopic, mainly focusing on the girls, and then the other biopic about the Andretta piece as well. So we're excited about that, and so in the screenwriting and writing screenplays and things like that. So life has changed a lot, but overall, it's been a great journey.
Now, the story was, of what I've heard via the media, or the media have said, that Beyoncé managed to read the book or read parts of the book. Either Beyoncé or her handler said, "It's a betrayal of Mr. Moore. He betrayed the trust of Beyoncé." What are your thoughts on this?
Well, me personally, I don't think B said that. But if she did and she felt betrayed, it was nothing but the truth. I mean, you can't betray the truth. Uh, so I really don't have any comments. I mean, it don't bother me. I haven't seen bees in what 17 years, So I mean, it was just the Andretta Tillman piece. B know what part she played in it, and all the girls played in it, and whether it was good or bad, and the true story of what really happened. So I mean, it's not anything that I take offense to.
So let's talk about the inspiration behind now taking the book into the movie world. Why would you make such a move?
Well, it wasn't my idea. It wasn't originally my idea, but like I say, people read the book and they realized that, hey, this is more than likely what really happened, and so they wanted to, being that Beyonce and Destiny Child are the stars they are, to put it on the big screen, and I don't have a problem with that.
Had Andretta been alive today, what do you think her relationship would have been like with Destiny's Child, as they are now sort of separated and then come back when they feel like it?
Well, she would have still been in charge, her and Matthew, and and things of that nature. And I would have probably more than likely still been there as well.
Yeah.
With the girls breaking up, my personal opinion on that, I think that had something to do with the fact of the situation with Matthew, as well as Andretta, the estate sued them as well for back royalties and things of that nature. And I think, the association with the name Destiny Child and all that may have had something to do with it.
Okay, there's lots of things in the press about Matthew Knowles and various dilemmas that he's going through and this, that and the other. What are your thoughts on all this drama associated with Matthew Knowles?
Well, I was very protective and everything about all the other interviews I did, but I think Malcolm X said it best when he said, "Your chickens come home to roost." So, from the experiences that I've had with him and some of the things that I do know, I'm not surprised.
I know you talk quite a bit about Matthew Knowles within the book as well.
Yes.
We'll leave it as that.
Say what now?
Yes, we'll leave that as that.
Yes, I mean, like I said, Matthew played a part. He played an intricate part, and what happened, some of the failures, some of the success. I mean, I couldn't, just sugarcoat it. I mean, it is what it is. It happened.
Ouch. Right. Let us talk about things that have happened since the book has been out. I know you talk about the biopic that's going to be coming out. That sounds fantastic. Has anything else been going on as well?
Well, we've been back working with a couple artists that we've come across, and they're very talented. So Armand, Andretta's son, and I we reformed Tillman Management. So we're doing that now, and we're just trying to finish off what his mom and I did. So he just so happened to get into the management music management as well. So I'm just going along to help him and just enjoy the ride and give any consultation and advice I can.
So we talked. I know it was also mentioned about you being a part of being in the top 10 in terms of a potential biopics and books on various groups and stuff.
Well,
Tell me more about
it's
that.
that was an article I read the other day as well, and I was shocked
Mm-hmm.
that the biopics that people want to see, and it was like one of the top 10 music biopics that people are looking forward to seeing. So that's good to know. I mean, so as we keep marching towards that, I mean, that was encouraging.
I understand there's another book coming out regarding Beyonce. Do you know anything about this?
J. Randy Turabelli.
Okay.
Uh, yes, becoming Beyonce. So I happened to be a part of that because once my book was released, I got a call from Torabelli Camp after they had read my book. And they were saying, we're doing a biography on Beyonce. When you've already said these things in your book, we can either quote your book straight apart or, would you like to do an interview? And I was hesitant. And I was like, no, no. And then after a while, we talked. And I talked with my wife about it, and the thing was that my book would forever be known or could be misconstrued that hey, this is a revenge book. This is a book where somebody is after money, as you said earlier, and things of that nature, and that's not the case. So I knew if let me just go and tell this in an interview, and whatever this unbiased author writes, I have no control over. And then that would become more of a master document, as I would say, and of what really happens with uh, Beyonce and Destiny Child.
So Torabelli, who is Torabelli?
Randy Torabelli is the guy that he's written the Michael Jackson biography, the Kennedys, the Hiltons, Frank Sinatra, Madonna. He's I think like 12-time New York Times best-selling author. So
So he's covered the big ones then.
yes, so
So your hesitation to actually get involved with him was because you wanted something that was probably, I don't know, what would be the best way to put it, close to heart and closer to the truth and grounded more than maybe things that may have been filtered out.
well, I mean, like I say, I mean, they'd read the book several times. So I mean, the questions they were asking me was what I said in the book, and the question was, was it true? I said I wrote it. Yes, it's true. Well, would you stand up? I'll go to court against anything I wrote in the book. I have no problem. I got documentation to prove everything I said. So once we got past that, then it became more of a thing where, you're talking about Beyonce more personally, and the child she was, and her mom, dad, the relationships, some of the things that happened uh, with all that, and but the behind the scenes. So, and once they got me, the other people that were a part of it, you have the Alonzo Jackson, the producer, Tony Moore, who was the writer for the first album that's never been released that nobody knows about.
Ah.
Yeah, that Andretta had produced on the girls. So it's then you had a lot of people that were in the inner workings, the old group tastes and things of that nature. They were there. So once that happened, then we really everything came together. So he basically rounded up all the posse, and everybody said their say.
Are there any plans to release that first album?
I have no idea. I had conversations with Andretta State and things of that nature, and they were pursuing the masters. I don't know what happened with that. So,
Would be great to have that as part of the inside the biopic, wouldn't it?
well, definitely. I mean, we have the songs. I mean, we have the recordings and everything ourselves. I mean, copies of all that. Our personal copies. So, um, we'll see. You know.
Biopics in the past have caused some people have been upset by the biopics. What are you going to do to ensure that the biopic represents Destiny's Child the best that it can be?
It's once you're telling the truth and stick with that. And the greatest thing about our biopic is I was there. It's not like I'm going to ask anybody. Even with Randy Torrivelli's book, um, it's secondhand. I mean, he's getting it. He got it from us. We told him, and he writes it. With my book, it's a firsthand account. I was there, and you can't overlook that. And so with the biopic, it will be just trying to, as closely as we can, recreate those events.
Okay, another man that was there was Matthew Knowles. He would
Yes.
say he was there. He could go and make a biopic as well. What would happen then?
He could. He can too. I have no problem with that. But like I say, there are some behind the scenes that he was not privy to that were going on, and there are some things I don't know that that was happening in his house that I wouldn't know. So I mean, you could write it from different angles. So I mean, yeah, he was there. He was there as well. So
if you were trying, if you wanted people to really delve inside that book that you've got right there, what would be the key points in that book that would make fans of Destiny's Child want to know about the background of them? The key points of the book, you would say.
well, the main point is the sacrifice that Andretta Tillman made, the ultimate sacrifice, and the things she put up with to keep them going. Not a lot of people that I know could, having lupus and enduring the things she endured. But because of this, it was a dream that she wanted and she basically inherited. And to just the way she walked it to the finish line. Beyonce and them are the strong women they are because they saw Andretta fight. They saw her. Kelly used to drive her to her lupus appointments and things of that nature. So, I mean, they know of the struggle that she went through. And so that's the main things, the sacrifice that was done. And then you'll see, in this book, you'll learn how the girls got their chops. How, a lot of people, where did Beyonce really learn to sing? Well, Beyonce would sit and study artists like crazy, and she would, it's part in the book that I laugh about it because it was so funny because the male counterpart group that we had was Taste. And Beyonce would, after they rehearsed, she would watch them to time in. And one of the guys in the group used to always say, "Hey man, the little girl, that girl's stealing our stuff. She's stealing our stuff." And the other guys would not believe it. But then she would get and go with Harlan, one of the guys from the group, and he would show her how to dance and different steps and moves that he were doing. So it was just a journey, just what really happened, and how cold-hearted the music industry really is.
On the subject of stealing material.
Uh-oh. I have no idea. Before we go there, I have no idea. Yeah. I'm not going down that road.
Oh,
go ahead.
Dear. Yeah. Well, I think we'll skip over that then.
Oh well, whatever you want to ask.
Well, there have been lots of accusations and maybe lawsuits coming out. I believe I've come to understand via the media that Beyonce and Matthew have come under fire for various maybe copyright issues.
Okay, I with just my prior knowledge, I can see where that come from. Yeah, I can see that.
So
I can see that.
So that's sort of chicken.
So when the thing was that we wanted the girls to have control of their careers. So when songs were originally written and things of that nature, early on, we would, encourage the girls to write and things of that nature. So that's how they started writing their own material and things of that nature. And so I can see, possibly that getting misconstrued as somebody getting a little more writer credit than they deserve. So I could see it. Not that they did it. I'm not saying that they stole or anything like that. But I can see, once you got writers and producers and people disputing how much somebody did.
Interesting. Let's close on the general music industry. Do you think there'll ever be a band like Destiny's Child again?
Like Destiny Child? Uh, there will be another band, female band. There will never be another group like Destiny Child because you don't have to struggle as hard as they did. Now you can sing on the internet and get signed. So the struggle and the endurance that it took for Destiny Child to get there is not happening nowadays. The people either give up or they'll become YouTube sensations. So I don't think there'll ever be another Destiny Child.
What separates them from the rest?
What separates them from the rest, I mean, if you look at TLC, their journey was, hey, they got together, they ran into, uh, pebbles and basically went their journey. Destiny Child was, I mean, you're talking 7 to 8 years, of struggling and trying. And these are kids that lost their basic childhoods, uh, to wanting a dream. So there'll never be another Destiny Child because I don't think the kids that we have nowadays are willing to make those sacrifices or cut of that mold. And that's why Beyonce, I mean, you got to look at her. She can go do, 100 city tour and then go rest for 2 months and go do another one. That's how they was made. They were brought up the hard way. They rehearsed, they practiced. You know, I mean, we wasn't Joe Jackson, but hey, it was rough. It was rough. So I don't think there'll ever be another Destiny Child.
Kenny Moore, thank you so much for talking to Bayloric TV.
Thank you for having me, Ingram. Always great to be here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.